Today's thought: no one loves a soldier until the enemy is at your gates.
Greetings and salutations. I am Neverborn, The-Abyss-That-Slumbers.
And you are listening to 1488 KekFM, broadcasting on the Kekistan Armed Forces Radio Network.
Oh no! A smidgen of truth!
You're evil right down to your black little heart.
This is irony on an entirely new and frankly unfucking precedented level.
Why aren't there handcuffs on that bed?
Snopes. That doesn't pump blood like a normal human.
If we could somehow take this irony and condense it down into something that we could burn...
What level of hell am I at?
But some sort of oily, viscous fluid.
we would no longer be trapped in the solar system.
Snopes.
Kill it! Kill it!
You are evil.
Once a week, I hope to switch over my vast interdimensional network to host broadcasts from the Kekistan nation in exile. Tonight's broadcast is being held in an abandoned building on the eastern border of Poland while being surrounded by grim Polacks armed with bolt-action rifles and way too many hand grenades. Up next, public service announcements. If you are Kekistani in exile and are involved in the ongoing meme war, please send in your submissions to us via Patreon, YouTube Messenger service, or Verizon Thoughtgram. If you message me, I'll get around to responding to it when the mood strikes me. If you actually donate anything on my Patreon, I'll get to it as soon as my free time permits. This conflict will be long and bloody, and there are those who think talking to the enemy is treason. This is true. They are an evil lot whose hearts are black and shriveled, only serving the purpose of pumping black bile through their pressurized circulatory systems. That said, if we don't listen to these vile miscreants, how will we know them? One must know your enemy. So if you have one of those flea-ridden enemies of Kekistan in bondage somewhere, please contact us and we would love to have them on our show so they can state their side of the story. And then we can all feel morally superior in their exposed ignorance. That's why 1488 KekFM is opening up our phone lines to host you discussing any topic related to World War meme. Got something you want to rant about? Well, let us know and we'll try to set up a time to chat about it. All group discussions are routed through Discord, so we can bounce the signal off several redirection services to hide our location. This has been Public Service Announcements. Up next, news from the front. Currently, Kekistan Armed Forces is looking for new recruits to sign up for the Kek Special Forces. Do you think you have what it takes to learn the ancient and deadly art of Kekjitsu? Contact your local CAF recruiter today. As we all know, the many faces of the enemy are myriad and ever-shifting, such as the nature of mimetic warfare. This past week has seen movement on two fronts. The legacy media has begun fighting fast and furious as of late. I'm sure we're all aware of the ongoing battle of YouTube. In a surprise attack, the Wall Street Journal opened fire on PewDiePie, who up until this point had remained somewhat neutral in this ongoing conflict. However, after suffering heavy initial losses, both the Disney endorsement as well as YouTube Red Show, smelling blood in the water, legacy media gathered around the Wall Street Journal to push the offensive, hoping to bring down the king of YouTube. However, PewDiePie has successfully rallied his forces and counterattacked. The result was a sound trouncing of the legacy media's offensive, who then retreated into delusion, claiming victory without any evidence of such. They then acted like a bunch of cry-bullies, claiming that PewDiePie was actually attacking them and that they were so weak and helpless. Well, at least they got that last part right. The fighting is dying down, but skirmishing still continues. Both sides hope to harass the enemy's flanks, picking off targets of opportunity. However, this pause in the battle has given our strategists time to analyze the reasons for such a futile gesture. It is now believed that this was just a feint, that this was an attempt to distract our forces while a much more sinister action moved covertly behind our lines. And the source of this revelation is both shocking and morale boosting. I speak of none other than Harmful Opinions, Harmful Opinions, who was leading a charge against normie scum while fighting valiantly when he was feared killed in the Battle of Non-Disclosure Agreements against enemy regiment Candid. Rumors flew fast and furious, and last we heard his channel was hacked and all of his videos deleted, not to be recovered. We ask now that you, our audience, take a moment to remember all the fallen memes that were slain in this senseless act of violence. Any listeners who wish to contribute to the Harmful Opinions Meme Massacre Fund, we ask that you contact Harmful Opinion directly. Donations are being accepted on his Patreon page. And if you, our listener, happen to have copies of any of his old videos, please contact the station or Major General Harmful Opinions, and hopefully we can help him to rebuild this shattered meme community. So while we rejoice at the return of Major General Harmful Opinions, his return also accompanies a cautionary tale. While dwelling in the belly of the beast, trapped behind enemy lines, Harmful discovered a most insidious and subversive plot, one that I will relay to you in his own words.
Free speech is fucked. It really is. It is so fucked, you wouldn't believe it. It's like a 40-year-old porn star. We've seen a sort of shift from old media controlling narratives and all that good stuff in the news to new media, but what was waiting for us was a foolproof worldwide cage. Show me a site that doesn't fuck with what you can see in a way that you can't figure out or break through, and I'll show you a site that no one's really using. All the major platforms screw with things in a suspicious way, and they're all getting better and better at it. Anyone can get a message out now, or at least anyone can make it feel to themselves like they're really getting a message out, but there's no way to know if you're being throttled, there's no way to know if you're being put into an invisible ghetto, your reach being restricted to a certain group that will make it seem like you're growing, will make it seem like you've got an audience and have influence, but really they could be shoving you off into an e-corner, an internet dumpster, in a way that will make you feel like you're not being silenced so you don't get too angry, but at the same time limit your reach enough that whoever's in control wants to spread will spread further and have more effect. Is this happening though? There's some evidence that fuckery's going on along these lines, and there's certainly all the infrastructure, everything in place someone who would want to do this would need to do it, but here's where we get to the core issue. There is no transparency. That's a problem in and of itself, even if this isn't going on. These sites have developed these tools, and instead of handing it to the users and allowing us to choose, okay, I want to filter this, or I want to filter that, I want to take advantage of this technology for my own benefit, but I want to be able to turn it off. What they've done is they've applied it to everyone. You cannot get rid of their master filter. There are quality filters and spam filters and things like that you can tweak, but pretty much any site I can think of has something in place that you cannot get around, and which is hard to keep track of. It's hard to understand exactly what it's doing. That is a huge problem. And a huge problem with that huge problem is that this is becoming normal. People are getting comfortable with it. People are becoming comfortable with it at a time when it is most important to not be comfortable, to get angry and to fight and to shout and to scream and to say no. And the reason it's so important is because you might be able to change the course of things. You might be able to shift the path social media is going down.
He is right. We have been too lax in our war and failed to shore up our own supply lines. The normies are now threatening to cut off our supply of memes. Yes, it's true. The internet is ever bountiful with new memes. Kekistani meme farmers everywhere rejoiced at the news that He Will Not Divide Us has reopened in the El Rey Theater in Albuquerque, New Mexico. But just because meme farming is better than ever doesn't mean that the meme supply lines are safe. Twitter throttling, Reddit shadow bans, and not to mention the fact that YouTube has begun a program of death by 1,000 cuts. You may not be aware, but their so-called AI monitoring program regularly demonetizes videos for KekTubers. Unless you fight, and I suggest you fight vigorously. Every time they get away with that, it will only embolden them to demonetize more of our videos. That isn't to mention the so-called glitches that result in viewers of KekTube channels being unsubscribed at random. Now, some of us don't care about the money. Currently, I plan on donating any income my channel gets to other KekTubers. Alas, all my money currently goes to save kittens and cats with face cancer. This is Duncan. He survived and is doing well, but it's very expensive, and I really can't afford to donate any money to any other KekTubers. That said, I guess many of you might be also in the same boat. So don't help with your wallets, help with your voice. Join me, Major General Harmful Opinions, and General Mr. Makator. As we sound the alarm, we must assume that our normal methods of communications have been blocked, so we must respond accordingly. If you are subscribed to a KekTuber, also click on the notification bell icon next to the subscribe button to make sure that you don't get unsubscribed by accident. Make your own video letting people know how you feel about the soft censorship of free speech. Take the time, as I have, to email Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and any other social media site you may be a part of, and let them know that you will not tolerate their censorship. These actions that we take, while small, will simply overwhelm the barricades that they build. We cannot count on the meme supply lines to get the memes to the front lines to help our many Kekistani soldiers. The supply of memes is slowing to a trickle, being diverted to e-ghettos by the normies. But if the battle of YouTube has shown us anything, it is the power of the masses. If we, with one voice, shout long and loud into the void, others will hear us and they will echo our memes. Instead of depending on the social websites to play fair, we must overwhelm them with a diluvian flood of memes that will overflow their censor bots and drown our enemies in a tidal wave of information. We must return to the old ways. We must bucket brigade the memes to the front lines. Each Kekistani soldier must echo those memes he agrees with to lend his voice to our cause. Let your outrage be heard, and with the cries of 1,000,000 Kekites crying out with one voice, we will be heard in spite of their loathsome and cowardly tactics. You matter. You are important, both in the world and to society as a whole. The only value we are granted in this world is that of your inherent humanity. We are all created equal, and society should strive to give everyone equal opportunities. Regardless of where you start, you have an obligation to own your own existence. Do not worry about what you cannot change. Instead, accept that your life is what it is and resolve yourself to move forward from this point, seeking to maximize your fullest potential. Part of that is standing up for what you believe in. Kek asks that you think about the memes you hear. Do not just parrot them, but consider them. If you believe in Kek's memes, then you have a duty and an obligation to spread those memes. True, we may be wrong, but mistakes are nothing to be ashamed of, and as long as you are willing to change, when you learn you are wrong, we will all eventually be right. To those members of the Eldritch Company, I speak to all of you today to reiterate our unit's official motto. We are fallible and we love to fail, for without error there's no clear path to truth. We must speak our minds to let others know what we think. We must argue with those who disagree with us to verify our beliefs. We must change when we learn we are wrong. There is no shame in failing. There is great shame in failing to learn from failure. But we cannot learn and grow without our memes, and our enemies will never be saved from the tyranny of their oppressive ignorance if they fail to hear our memes. We must fight this throttling of ideas just as vigorously as we fought the battle of YouTube. If you accept my memes, if you believe as I do, lend your voice to mine. Together we will bring light into darkness. This has been News from the Front. Up next, a word from our sponsor. Trying to snuff the life of an unborn child, but evil Republicans getting in the way? Has funding from your local fetus slaughterhouse been cut and you just can't afford to use abortion as a form of birth control anymore? Well, worry no more, for the Old Ones Abortion Network is here to help. The Old One Network is a collection of ancient and forgotten gods who have banded together in this oppressive monotheistic world to work together for the benefit of oppressed deities everywhere. When you contact one of our friendly mind slaves, we will explain the process to you in no-nonsense terms and offer to pay for your abortion, rendering it absolutely free to you. That's right, no matter how expensive your abortion turns out to be, the Old Ones Abortion Network will pay for everything. Now I know what you're saying, what's the catch? Well, the catch is we need to be notified at least 3 days before the abortions take place. When you sign our contract, The soul of your soon-to-be murdered child will become the property of the Old Ones Abortion Network and will be put up on KekBay to be sold to the highest bidder. Then, on the day of your abortion, a certified mind slave of the Old Ones must be present as the procedure takes place. As the unborn child's potential is snuffed out by a cruel and unloving world that has no place for it anyways, its soul will instantly be claimed by the highest bidder and sent directly to whatever accursed hellscape pain dimension the winner rules. Your unborn child's soul will go to a worthy cause, helping to sate the endless hunger of an old one who has lain dormant for eons after being cast out of the tapestry of human existence. So why put it off? Call now and be rid of that drab, useless, unborn child before the week is out. And if you abort more than 3 unborn before the end of this year, you become eligible to join our Frequent Sacrifice Program. Members of the Frequent Sacrifice Program receive 6.66% of the profit from every sale. Many of our Frequent Sacrifice members have made so much money they quit their jobs. And what a fun and rewarding you can even work from home. Just listen to the testimony from members of our program.
Cool. Feels good.
And
I kill my kids.
I kill my kids.
Seriously, folks, if it was wrong, wouldn't it be illegal? Turn that baby maker into a moneymaker today. Contact the Old Ones Abortion Network. This has been a word from our sponsors. Up next, did you know? Did you know that while many people think the Kekistan people are related to the Romani, better known as Gypsies, this isn't actually the case? There are 2 main differences. Kekistani are white, and Kekistani don't steal children to eat. This has been Did You Know? Up next, irony. This has been irony. Well, this concludes our broadcast. I'm afraid we're going to have to cut this short. Everyone has gotten kind of tense because of something the patrols just radioed back. Everybody's moving to the windows and I'm